Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful evening last night. It was delightful here in Wichita once again. In the low 70s, supposed to hold the high 60s this weekend, so pretty nice for this time of year. Seasonally, we'd be in the mid-50s, but it is March and things tend to warm up pretty quickly right here. We do need moisture, as I've said all week. When it gets this warm this early, the wheat comes out of dormancy and requires moisture, so it's pretty easy to stress the crop under these conditions. So we hope to get some moisture and rain. We let the Gulf start pumping that moisture up, and then the cold fronts coming out of the Rockies shaking some of that moisture loose and getting it to the ground. Today is normally a pause day for financials, and the dynamic that creates that is that everybody that wanted 3, 10, and 30-year paper is out of the market. Their needs are satisfied. The primary dealers who manipulate the markets to move that paper have to settle their books. And if there's not a major piece of news today, those two entities, which is a big part of the market, or which are a big part of the market, it tends to yield a trading day. So we'll have the E-minis direction, and it appears to be pointed higher this morning. With resistance really starts to build pretty quickly from 2065 up. So E-mini going higher would cap the rally in financials. We've got PPI at 0.3, and that's a precursor. The Fed hopes that inflation is starting to increase, as does the EU. Core at +0.1, but given what's gone on in energy prices, it's hard to see that that's going to happen. And then Michigan sentiment at 96. So number one will be the core inflation, number 2 will be Michigan sentiment, and then number 3 will be the direction of the E-mini. So we've got definitely resistance at 4. And we're at 31.5, and we've got volume here at 1.5. So selling failure to take out 04 would be the first trade. So our first sell zone in the 31, we're underneath the market right now. Actually, let's just move that up, and maybe we can get that a little higher. Sell 3s to 7s for sell 1, and sell 2, 11 to 15. And we'll put a question mark by 2701. We're in that area, so 127, 127.01 might be where that comes on. On the buy side, got volume at 27.5. We've got a low at 25. We've got volume from yesterday at 27, 27.5, same place that it was. And structurally, you're looking at volume here and here, which would make that a sell at 7 and a buy at 28. So we'll make the first buy 25 to 29. Like to get it done as close to 27 as possible. And the second buy will be 21 to 17. Don't think we can make 21 to 17 unless the E-mini just really runs up this morning. Okay, overnight, the news was pretty quiet. In England, they did not make their construction forecast. It came in a negative number. Really not much news to speak of. Outside of that, probably the biggest news as far as our markets go is that China becomes a player and a part of the London fixing on the 20th of March. And we'll have to see how that impacts the trading, but try to find them to feather your slush funds and try to find, take them out of business, send their principals to jail. Ain't going to happen. Russia has been given a board seat on SWIFT, which is the government and large bank clearing agencies, how the cash is moved and posted. That shows the West how much clout they have in kicking Russia around. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. when you look at how little thought and little strategizing goes into what you're going to do with rush out there. You do match them tit for tat, but they're the ones that take the first step, and they're the ones that are thinking ahead of you. So very, very, the brain trust we have between Washington, D.C. and Boston, Massachusetts is limited. They have the world's best credentials and best contacts in the network, but they ain't too bright most of the time. And if you want to go back and look at where all these government programs come from that don't work over time, that's where they come from. So they ain't the best and the brightest as they've been characterized as. Okay, on the 30-year, we've got this break up here in the volume at 59.24 to 28. That's probably pretty stout resistance. Yesterday's last rotate up in the M period stopped at 24. We've got a P, so we got a chance to trade it a little higher, so 19 to 23 would be a structural sell. And then this low volume number up here is it's actually at 26, 27 to 31 and be sell too. Don't think we can break it out, and then London's high is 12. So this put a question mark by 11 by 15. I think we can do a little bit higher. All we have to do, though, to get short is to sell it above 07. We have sold above value on that. On the buy side, 59.01 to 29, buy 1. And then 21 to 25 for buy 2. And I do like the number 2 levels, as always. Okay, it's Friday. In your trading journal, one of the things I used to track was, how do I feel on Friday mornings? Am I tired? Have we had a busy week? How much emotional capital do I have coming in for trading today? And one of the things that that I used to notice physiologically about me is that back as I was transitioning from studying and back testing and all that stuff to learning how to trade was if I was a little bit tired, the internal arguments about why I shouldn't take a trade or this or that and the rest of it, was pretty quiet, and it actually helped my trading a little bit. And that would be contrary to most thinking. Most thinking would tell you that you got to be really, really rested. You got to be ready to get out there and fight the battle. And so in my personal case, and by keeping a journal on how I felt and how well the trading went, I was able to see that if I was a little bit tired, that I could do well. And the reason I could do well is that I cut down the chatter between my ears. And it was just a little personal observation that would be counterintuitive. But you won't know that unless you keep those journals. The other thing is that if I got a feeling that the market was going to do such and such, or this is where support and resistance was, I would write those numbers down, and then I would compare those to the numbers that I actually traded. And over time, that led me to trust those intuitions or those feelings about where the market was and which way it was going. So it's part of that. I think it's as important as the business plan. It's how you grow and how you improve your performance. Okay, gold, we still like the short side. This 60 to 62 area has been pretty good to us. and 65, 68. It's where resistance is right now on the buy side, 50 plus or minus, and then our 45 plus or minus. Probably a pause day for gold. It'll be interesting to see how this Chinese deal plays out. And they move cautiously. They don't shake things up, but the gold market could see some significant changes. And China likes gold. They like to buy it. And what better way to buy gold, physical gold, cheaper than to get out there and knock the hell out of the futures market? So we'll have to see if that actually does happen. Okay, you should be in the June 6E contract today. You should have been switched to the June contract in the E-mini no later than this morning. You can trade on the day that you roll. You can trade the expiring contract, but on that second day, you should be in the new contract. So we got volume right here at 106.20. We have volume down at 105.75. So our first buy is in the 75. It's where support is, plus or minus. Second buy is going to be in the 50 area. That's where the breakout came from yesterday. On the sell side, last rotate up stopped at 12. We've got volume at, looks like 20, so 10 to 20, sell 1, leaning against that volume. And then our 40 to 50 would be sell 2. The rhetoric coming out of Germany and Greece is not very good. Greece yesterday told the world that was listening that they'll never be able to repay their debts. And of course, Germany is trying to keep the EU together for a bit longer, trying to figure the way out of this mess. And they don't appreciate that type of commentary. It's true. When you look at the debt that's created by Japan, Japan will never be able to repay their debt. When you look at the where the United States is about to get to that point where we can't repay our debt no matter what. And that's why central banks favor inflation, where you pay back your debt in devalued dollars. And that's a big reason the central banks like inflation. They can keep it 1 to 2%, everybody's happy. The problem is keeping it 1 to 2%. That's the difficult part to do. And right now, if you, since 2008, the world has been fighting deflation, and I think they still are. The stuff I see. Okay, crude oil. We like the short side of the market. And we will continue to like the short side of the market because there's more supply than demand. So we've got our 45.50 to 75 buy 1. Talk about a round number, 45 plus or minus for buy 2. 45 is right up there, not as big as 50, but it's the next big point. Got structural resistance there at 87, structural resistance at 25. So, and we're at 08, and the spill was from 50. So this 50 area plus or minus, sell 1, and then 47 plus or minus, sell 2. But we do like the short side of the market, and I know I sound like a broken record, but it's fundamentals do drive the market, and eventually, not on any given day, and there's more supply than demand, sell crude oil. Okay, the E-mini is pointed higher this morning. It's sold from last Friday because the Fed was going to raise interest rates sooner rather than later. It's rallying right now on the Fed will raise interest rates later rather than sooner. So short covering rally for sure. Okay, the low was 30. We've managed to get up to 60. Usually a short covering rally will stop at 30 to 40 points. If it's really, really, really the selling's not done, 20 to 30 points will stop it. So that's where we are right now. So we've got news today, PPI plus 0.3. core plus 1/10, and Michigan sentiment, which is a stock market sentiment indicator when you get right down to it. And these people should be relatively happy. So the number one focus will be core inflation, but the Fed's not fighting inflation, probably doesn't have as much impact. I think Michigan sentiment will have the most impact today. We got a seller at 60. I'm guessing we have a buyer at 50. So 50.52 buy 1, 45.47 buy 2. Resistance is at 60, so 59.61 sell 1. Best resistance is right up here in this area, this 65 to 70, then it jumps up to 78. So 64, 66 would be sell 2. That's all I have for right now. It'll take at least 20 minutes to get everything up and posted. I'm going to get busy on that. Be back with you as soon as possible.